Hello scholars, welcome to Dakshinai classroom. I hope your studies are going fine. Now if you remember, in the last lecture we have talked about susceptibility of a material and permeability of a material. We have also talked about that there are three kinds of material, that is paramagnetic, diamagnetic and your ferromagnetic. Now if I place a material in an external magnetic field, then what happens? That material gets magnetized. And in case of your paramagnetic, if you remember, we can say that I is equal to zeta times H, where I is the magnetization vector of your material, zeta is the susceptibility of your material, and H is your magnetic intensity. Now magnetic intensity is defined for magnetizing field. Now so what happens if I remove this external field? So in case of paramagnetic material, if I remove H, if H becomes 0, magnetizing field becomes 0, then I will also become 0. Meaning removing external field will bring your material back to the original position where it will not have any magnetic dipole moment of its own. Now, but in case of ferromagnetic material, that is not exactly how it happens. In case of ferromagnetic material, there is a very interesting property that we are going to study in today's lecture. So in case of ferromagnetic material, there is a very interesting property that is called hysteresis. Hysteresis, or we will talk about hysteresis loop. So when ferromagnetic material is magnetized and when we remove that external field which was magnetizing your ferromagnetic material, hysteresis occurs. So we will try to understand hysteresis through hysteresis loop. Note it down, then we will discuss further. Now the first thing that you need to understand about hysteresis is that it is only observed in your ferromagnetic material. So first thing you need to write down is that it is a property of ferromagnetic material. That is, paramagnetic materials do not show hysteresis. Now, in order to understand what is hysteresis and how it affects your material, we will draw something called your hysteresis loop. Now, in order to draw the hysteresis loop, let us take an example. Let us take that we have a solenoid and there is a ferromagnetic material placed inside the solenoid. So, say that let us take a ferromagnetic material placed inside a solenoid. Now, so if there is a solenoid, if I pass the current through the solenoid, a magnetic field will be produced, and because of that magnetic field the material will be magnetized and so on. But initially the current is 0, and if the current is 0, your magnetic field due to solenoid is 0. So initially what you say, initially current is 0, so magnetic field is 0, and if magnetic field is 0, your H vector, magnetic intensity vector, that is 0. And if the magnetic intensity vector is 0, initially your ferromagnetic material is unmagnetized state. So you can say that initially material is unmagnetized and external field is 0. So here you can say initially current is 0, which means field is 0, and material is unmagnetized, meaning material does not have its own magnetic moment. So in the beginning at t equal to 0, what we have? In the beginning we have that field is 0. What is field? H is nothing but B by mu, like this, which is n times I, and this is 0 because current is 0, and magnetization vector, that is also 0, like this. Now, so initially we will start from here. Now let us talk about what will happen if I now start increasing the current. Pause the video, note it down, then we will discuss what happens if I start increasing the current. So initially the current is 0, your magnetic intensity is 0, and magnetization vector is 0. So we will start from here. Now if I start increasing the current, you can say that sir, H is nothing but B by mu naught, and which is equal to n times I. So if I start increasing the current, magnetic intensity starts increasing. And if the magnetic intensity starts increasing, your material starts getting magnetized. But in case of ferromagnetic material, the magnetization is not exactly proportional to magnetic intensity. So we will say as the current increases, here you can write as current through solenoid, because we have placed our material inside a solenoid. That's how we can vary magnetic field, right? As the current through solenoid increases, let us write that here, increases, H increases. As a result, I also increases. So what is I? I is the magnetization of your material. And what is magnetization? Magnetization is an indicator of that how aligned your atomic dipoles are. So as you increase the external field, magnetization of the material also increases. Now that graph between when I am increasing magnetic intensity by increasing the current and the magnetization of your material, which is I. If you look at the graph, that graph looks like something like this. Not exactly your straight line. Now, second point. Now, as you can see here, initially if you increase the current, H increases, and as H increases, I increases. But after a certain time, there will be a point when I will become constant. Why? Because I is an indicator of alignment of atomic dipoles. And after atomic dipoles are 100% aligned in the direction of external field, now no matter how high you increase the external field, there cannot be any increase in the magnetic moment of your material. So after a certain time, your magnetic moment or magnetization vector, which is magnetic moment divided by volume, so magnetization vector will achieve a maximum threshold. Beyond that, it cannot go. Why? Because magnetization is produced. That magnetization, it is because of what? It is because of alignment of atomic dipoles. And once atomic dipoles are 100% aligned in the direction of your external field, after that there is no scope for further alignment. So you cannot further increase your magnetic intensity. So there will be a point when magnetization of the material becomes constant, and that point, after that point, there is no effect of your increase of magnetic intensity. So that point where magnetization, your magnetic intensity, magnetization vector, sorry, this is magnetic intensity, this is magnetization vector. So that point where magnetization of your material becomes constant, that point is called saturation point. So you can write that here. There will come a point when magnetization of material becomes constant. that is called saturation. Saturation. Why saturation? Because no matter how high you apply magnetic intensity, beyond that you cannot increase magnetization. So that is your saturation. Let us write that as point A. So you can say beyond this increasing value of H. What is H? S is your magnetic intensity vector. Magnetic intensity depends upon your current. So beyond this increasing value of H will have no effect on magnetization, that is I. Why it will have no effect? Because all the atomic dipoles are now perfectly aligned with your external field, and beyond that there is no scope for further alignment. So there will be no effect on magnetization. Pause the video, note it down, then we will discuss further. Now that we have seen that after some certain current, that your material, ferromagnetic material which is placed inside the solenoid, magnetization will become saturated, and beyond that the effect of increasing current will be negligible. Meaning if you go on increasing current, magnetic intensity will go on increasing, but your magnetization will not increase. Now what if I start decreasing the current? If I start decreasing the current and I bring the current to zero. Now if I slowly bring the current to zero, then what will happen? Now, so you will expect the magnetization also to go down to zero, but that does not happen. So you can write that now when we bring value of H back to zero. How you can bring the value of H? What is H? H is the magnetic intensity. Then what is magnetic intensity? Nothing but N times I. So by decreasing the value of current, you can decrease the value of H. So now when we bring the value of H back to zero, so you would expect that magnetization would also become zero, but no, magnetization does not comes back to zero. So now when we bring the value of H back to zero, magnetization, that is I, does not comes down to zero. So what happens actually? Now when we plot this graph, actually what happens? If it does not go back to zero, then what happens? So up to here we increase the magnetic intensity, magnetization was increasing. Beyond that, saturation. And if I now start reducing, it will go like this, something like this. So there will be some magnetization left. So when the magnetic intensity is brought down to zero, magnetization does not go back to zero. So here you can write this direction like this. Now, so here you can say the magnetization does not go back to zero. Now what is happening here? The ferromagnetic material which was placed inside, when the current was applied in the solenoid, magnetic field was established, and because of the field, magnetization occurs. But when the field was removed, when the current was brought down to zero, field was brought down to zero, and if the field is removed, in case of paramagnetic, magnetization will also come back to zero. But in case of ferromagnetic, even after the external field is removed, your magnetization does not become zero. Some magnetization is left. So what is happening here? Here the ferromagnetic material has some ability to retain magnetization even after external field is removed. So what you will say? Ability of material to retain or to remain magnetized even after external field is removed is called what is called? It is called your retentivity. Why? Because it is retaining some magnetization. Even after external field is removed, it is trying to retain some of the magnetization which occurred because of the external field. So that property is called retentivity. So retentivity. Now retentivity can be shown as, now see here, higher the magnetic intensity left when your H becomes 0, higher is the retentivity. So here if I say that this is the origin and this is point B, then OB will be called retentivity. So here you can say OB is your parameter of retentivity. Higher is the OB length, this length, higher is this length, higher will be the retentivity, like this. So that is your retentive property. Now what we can say? If the current is further decreased in the opposite direction, then what will happen? Now see here. Even after removing the external field, magnetization is not becoming 0. Okay. Now if I do want to make the magnetization 0, now what I can do is, let us say that initially current was flowing in the clockwise direction. Then magnetization was there. And we brought down the current to 0, still some magnetization is left. Now what I will do is, now if I want to bring this magnetization to 0, what I can do? I can start flowing current in anti-clockwise, that is opposite direction to the initial. I can make your magnetic intensity negative. Now what will happen? When you make the magnetic intensity negative, the dipoles, atomic dipoles, now they will try to rotate in the opposite direction. Their alignment direction will change. So when, here I can say, if magnetic intensity is increased in the opposite direction, then what will happen? The material will be forced to reach 0 magnetization state. Why? Because initially atomic dipoles were aligned in one direction. Now what I am doing is, by applying field in the opposite direction, I am forcing them to break their alignment in the original direction. So you can say that when magnetic intensity is increased, in which direction? Opposite direction. In opposite direction, material is forced to demagnetize. So on its own, it was trying to retain some of the magnetization. But what I did is, I applied field in the opposite direction. Now the dipoles will try to move in the opposite direction, so that the material, whatever magnetization it was retaining to, that will also be lost. So what will be the curve? Curve will be your something like this. Something like this. So here at this point, let us write this as point C. Your H is not 0. H is in negative and your magnetization becomes 0. So for ferromagnetic material, once you magnetize, then if you want to demagnetize, then just removing the field is not sufficient to demagnetize a ferromagnetic material. If you want to demagnetize a ferromagnetic material, you will have to apply opposite direction field. Pause the video, note it down, then we will discuss further. Now here we have seen that if you want to demagnetize a ferromagnetic material, you will have to apply some opposite direction magnetic field. So here up to OC, here you can say, what is OC? OC is signifying that if you want to demagnetize a material, then how much negative magnetic field or how much negative magnetic intensity you need to provide in order to demagnetize a ferromagnetic material. So OC is called your coercivity. What is coercivity? Coercivity is the negative magnetic intensity required. Let us write that. Negative magnetic intensity required in order to demagnetize a ferromagnetic material. That is your coercivity. So what was happening? Initially current was 0, field was 0, magnetization was 0. By increasing the current we magnetized, but when we started decreasing the current it did not get magnetized. So in order to demagnetize we had to apply the opposite direction of field. So how much opposite field or magnetic intensity is required to demagnetize the material? That is called your coercivity. So coercivity is that. Now what happens if I further decrease the magnetic intensity or if I further increase magnetic intensity in the opposite direction? So if I further increase magnetic intensity in the opposite direction, then your material is magnetized in the opposite direction. So here you can write, if we further increase H in opposite direction. Which is the opposite direction? Opposite to the original value. This is the original direction, so opposite direction. In opposite direction, then material is also magnetized in opposite direction. So initially material was magnetizing in the positive direction. Now it will be magnetized in the negative direction. So it will occur like this, somewhere like this. And after a certain time it will reach a saturation in the opposite direction. Beyond that, if you keep on increasing H in the negative direction, there will be no effect, because all of the atomic dipoles are now aligned in the reverse direction, negative direction. Beyond that there is a saturation. So now same thing, let us repeat. Now same thing. Now if I start increasing, if here the H value is negative, remember. Now if I move the H value towards 0, start reducing the current, then again what will happen? Your magnetization will not go back to 0. What will happen? Magnetization will move something like this. Here, like this. It will, some negative magnetization will be left. And if I start now increasing in the positive direction, so what will happen here? Here some positive field will be required to again demagnetize it. And if you start further increasing, then it will reach saturation like this. So what is happening here? If you remember, now what we are doing here, see, initially there was zero magnetization, zero magnetic intensity. We started magnetic intensity in the positive direction, magnetization started increasing. After a certain time it reached a saturation. Beyond that there will be no effect of increasing positive magnetization on your positive magnetic intensity on the magnetization. Now if I start reducing the current, then magnetization reduces, but when the magnetic intensity reaches zero, magnetization does not reach zero. This is called retentivity. Even if the external field is zero, magnetization is not zero. If I further reduce magnetic intensity in your opposite direction, now negative direction, reverse direction, then at a certain time magnetization becomes zero. This is called coercivity. That is negative magnetic intensity required in order to demagnetize. Now if I further increase in the negative direction, then what happens? Now your material starts magnetizing in the opposite direction. Previously dipoles are aligned in the right direction. Now the dipoles are aligning in the left direction. So in the left direction. In the left also, after a certain current, your saturation reaches. Now if I again starts decreasing the current in this way, magnetic intensity, again this starts getting demagnetized. But it does not fully demagnetizes. Some amount of current is always, some amount of magnetization is here left. Now if you want to demagnetize it again, then you have to apply positive here. Up to here, your magnetization will become zero. If you increase intensity further, again it will reach a saturation point. Like this you can draw. So what is happening here? Here your magnetization is not zero if you just release or if you just remove the external magnetic field. Now there is a one very interesting point here. Now see here. Let us say that I take this value of H. Here. Let us say this is minus H1. For this value of H, if I want to know the magnetization. Now in case of a paramagnetic material, for one value of magnetic intensity, magnetization is 1 only. But if you see here, for same value of H, there are two value of your magnetization. Same way here also. For same value of H, there are three value of magnetization. Meaning, in case of your ferromagnetic material, just by knowing magnetic intensity, you cannot tell that what is the magnetization. So you can say for a ferromagnetic material, we have different values of magnetization for the same value of magnetic intensity. Let us write that. For a ferromagnetic material, we have different values of I for same value of H. So for example, there is a ferromagnetic material and you tell me that, sir, this ferromagnetic material is placed in a magnetic intensity this much. And you ask me, sir, tell me what is the magnetization. Then nobody can tell. Why? Because for same value of H, it may be this also, it may be this also, it may be this also. So here, same value of your magnetic intensity, magnetization of the material may be different. Pause the video, note it down, then we will discuss further. So if for same value of H, we can have different value of your magnetization vector, then how do you tell that which will be the value? Now see here. There is another information required in order to tell whether what is your values. Now see here. Let us say that if I tell you that this is the value of H, let us say this to be H2. Now if I tell you the value of H2 and I tell you that my material is getting demagnetized. Remember, two informations are needed. One, what is the value of H? Another, what is the history of the material? What do you mean by history of the material? See here. If previously it was magnetized already and now you are demagnetizing it, then this will be the value of I. If previously it was zero magnetization and you are magnetizing it, then this will be the value of I here, like this. And if it was negative magnetization and now you are magnetizing it like this, then here this will be the value of I. So in case of ferromagnetic material, for a given value of H, what will be the value of I? That depends upon what? Upon what? That what was the previous state of the material? What was the state before you applied that field? So you can say that in case of ferromagnetic material, value of magnetization, let us write that value of magnetization, that is I, for a given value of magnetic intensity, that is H, depends upon the history of material. So what do you mean by history of material? That if initially it was demagnetized, initially magnetization was 0 and now you are trying to magnetize it, then from this curve you can know. If the initially it was saturation and now you applied this much field, then this here will be your magnetization. If initially it was negative saturation and now you are trying to make it positive, then this here will be the magnetization. So depending upon what was the original position, what was the initial shape or phase of your ferromagnetic material before you applied the external field, based on that, based on the past of the material, your present of the material is defined. That is the history. Based on what state it was before you applied that field. So based on that, you can know what is the value of I. Now, another thing that we need to understand is, now see here, if I talk about that, okay, magnetization is happening, demagnetization is happening, what about energy? See, in case the dipole is rotated, in case a dipole is rotated due to external electric field. Now dipole is rotated, then the dipole is rotated in the opposite direction and so on. But that process is not perfectly reversible. Here, this process is not reversible. This process is irreversible. What is the meaning of irreversible? Meaning, if I magnetize a material once, suppose that initially magnetization is 0 and magnetic intensity is 0. Now, once that material is magnetized here, then you cannot bring back magnetization also 0, magnetic intensity also 0. That will not happen. You see here in this entire graph, only here that magnetization and magnetic intensity both are 0. That was the initial position. After that, we went from here to here, then back through this route, here this way here, from here like this, then like this, and then like this. So you can make the magnetization 0, but both magnetic intensity and magnetization 0 at the same time is not possible. Meaning reversible processes follow the same path. Meaning if I go from here to here, I should be able to bring the magnet back to the original position by the same path in the reverse order. But that is not happening in this case. So if that is not happening, then your process is irreversible. And since your process is irreversible, some amount of energy will be lost in this process. So you can say that in this process energy is wasted in the form of heat, because it is an irreversible process. This process is not reversible. Now, how do you know that how much heat will be wasted? Now, see here. Greater the area of this curve. Now, see. Higher your retentivity, higher is the coercivity, greater will be the area, and greater is the area, more will be the heat lost. So this is a loop. If you see here, this is a loop. From here I went to here, from here like this, from here again back to here, then again back like this. This is a loop. So this is your hysteresis loop. This is what it is called, hysteresis loop. Hysteresis loop. So if you want to understand that how much heat will be lost in this process of magnetizing and demagnetizing a ferromagnetic material, then what you can say is, the greater is the area of this hysteresis loop, more will be the amount of energy wasted per unit volume of that your sample, whatever is that sample. So you can say that greater is the area of loop. What loop? This hysteresis loop. Greater is the area of loop, more will be the energy lost per unit volume. So if you have a ferromagnetic material and you know the hysteresis loop, and let us say that you want to compare two ferromagnetic materials and you want to minimize your heat loss. So whichever ferromagnetic material will have less area of this loop, that material you can use. Pause the video, note it down, then we will discuss a little bit more. So there are three main things that you should remember about the hysteresis or hysteresis loop. Now what are those three main things? Number one, that retentivity. What was retentivity? Retentivity was the ability of the material to remain magnetized even after external field has been removed. So that can be judged from here, from O to B. If the external field becomes zero, then also some magnetization is left. So that is retentivity. So whenever you are trying to judge which ferromagnetic material to be used, then three properties you should know. Number one is retentivity. Number two is coercivity. Now what is coercivity? Coercivity is how hard it is demagnetize the material. Meaning once the material is magnetized, then how difficult it will be to demagnetize it. That is your coercivity. And number three is your heat loss per unit volume. Meaning if in a material a lot of heat is lost, then that will not be useful for us. For example, let us take a transformer. Let us take an example. So in a transformer, we will talk about transformer when we talk about electromagnetic induction. In a transformer, what happens is, in a transformer, there is a soft iron core is used, because in a transformer, AC current is flowing. And if the AC current is flowing, the value of H will continuously change from positive value to negative value, because H directly depends on current, and current value goes on plus minus in AC current. So if in AC current H is quickly fluctuating between positive and negative, then my core of the transformer should be easy to demagnetized. Meaning whatever material you are using in a transformer core, or if you remember in a moving coil galvanometer also. So whatever is the material you are using in your transformer core, that material should be very easy to magnetized and it should be very easy to demagnetize. Meaning coercivity of the material in the transformer core should be very small. Why? If the coercivity is large, then it is difficult to demagnetize. And if it is difficult to demagnetize, suppose that current was positive. suddenly current became negative, fluctuates 50 hertz around in India. So current becomes negative. So with the current, magnetization of the core should also change. But since coercivity is high, that is not happening. So we do not want coercivity to be high in case of a transformer. So in transformer, what we will say? Coercivity should be small as possible. What about heat loss? What is the purpose of transformer? Purpose of transformer we will talk about is to transfer the current at higher or lower voltage. Now if you want to transfer the power at higher or lower voltage, the loss of power should be as less as possible. Meaning the heat loss per unit volume should be as small as possible. So if you want to use a material in your transformer, then heat loss should be very small. Heat loss should be small, very less, like that. Now what about retentivity? Retentivity is your adjustable. If you are assuming that retentivity should be high or low, that does not matter very much. Based on your coercivity and heat loss, you can choose. So here, in case of transformer, soft iron core is used. What is the property of soft iron core? The property of soft iron core is that it is very easy to magnetize and it is very easy to demagnetize, and heat loss is very small. Now how you can judge that heat loss is small? For example, two materials are given and the hysteresis curve of two materials are given. Now how you will tell that which one has less heat loss? Whichever has smaller area, whichever has narrow area, that will have less amount of heat loss. And how you can judge coercivity? This is your coercivity from O to C, from where this cuts. So in a transformer, coercivity should be very small. What is the coercivity? Coercivity tells you that how difficult it is to demagnetize. So for example, if you want to make a permanent magnet, for example, your bar magnet, it is made up of aluminum, nickel, cobalt and some like that, L-Nico you call. So if you want to make a permanent magnet, now which material I should use for permanent magnet? For permanent magnet, it should be very difficult to demagnetize. Once you magnetize something and you want to make a permanent bar magnet, then that bar magnet should be very difficult to demagnetize. So in case of making a permanent magnet, coercivity should be very large. In case of transformer, there is no need for a permanent magnet, so coercivity should be small. In case of making a permanent magnet like a bar magnet, coercivity should be very large. There heat loss is not that much important. Why? Because once you make a permanent magnet, you are not going to repeat this cycle very much, right? In a transformer, this cycle repeats very frequently, 50 times in 1 second. So there heat loss is important. But while you are making permanent magnet, heat loss is relatively less important. Why? Because there coercivity is important. Why? We are not going to repeat this cycle very much, right? Once I made the permanent magnet, I will remove it and use it for whatever purpose I intend to. So in that case, coercivity becomes important. So in case you want to make a permanent magnet, your soft iron is not a better candidate. There you use hard iron, or steel you can use. For steel, your coercivity is high. So you can use steel in order to make permanent magnets. So that way you can judge that what type of ferromaterial will be required or will be suitable for what purpose. Pause the video, note it down. So this will be the end of your magnetic field and magnetism chapter. We have tried to cover almost all the topics from your NCERT and NEET syllabus provided by NTA. Still, if there is any minor topic left, then you can just let me know. We will cover that topic separately. And if you have any doubt in any particular topic, then you can just drop me a message in your doubt group.